So when you show up for yourself, it's, physically included. And for me, losing 50 pounds over the past year, that's self-love, girl. Like, whether it's, getting a facial or getting a massage or trying out a makeup to see, experimenting with what you like, including aesthetically.
Welcome back to the Power and Purpose podcast. I'm Vanessa Soul, your host. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I have Rhianon Cote here. She is a sound healer, an abundance guide, a DJ, and master technician in non-invasive aesthetic therapies. So I'm super excited for today's conversation. And I have a signature question that I love to ask everyone. Who are you and who are you not?
Who I am is a natural born healer and guide of many sorts. I think specifically right now it's towards abundance, helping people tap back into whatever that looks like for them. Abundance can look very different depending on, what the intention and what the need is for people. But I feel like that's been a big calling for me right now, is to help people get aligned back with that, because it's our divine birthright. We've got a lot of amazing superpowers and opportunities to tap into our spiritual resources and our abundance. And a lot of people aren't aware of that. So I feel like that's a really great place to be a support on this planet right now. I also do a lot of other things, as you mentioned, and I figure, why not? Like, why aren't we doing more things, right? Like, I'm not in one box. So I do DJing for fun. Absolutely love it. A DJ house. And then the ultrasound aesthetics has been a really big part of things right now. It's an amazing technology that heals from the inside out. I can't wait to go deep and rabbit hole with you on that here shortly. And just sound healing in general, right? Through music, through ultrasound waves. There's a lot of different amazing ways that sound can heal people. So I would say that that's been my focus. I guess it's more of what I do, maybe not as much as what I am, but yeah, I would say who I'm not, and this is probably sometimes a practice and sometimes an isness, but I'm trying not to be judgmental. I'm trying not to shame others. I'm trying to not put people in a box. I feel like if we spent more time just understanding and allowing, it'd probably be a much different place here.
Tell us about your spiritual awakening journey before you started to do all the amazing work that you do now, most likely. Tell us about the Burning the Blueprint chapter. What is that? That sounds so interesting.
Yeah, it sounds super glamorous, but if anybody that's gone through their spiritual awakening knows that it's everything but that. But yeah, I would say probably like right around the same time I had a pretty serious surgery, like around the end of 2018, beginning of 2019. A lot of my reality started to shift rather quickly. Like, a lot of certain people started to show up in my reality that I hadn't really been aligning with, like really deep, spiritual, powerful teachers. They say that one of the teacher shows up when the student is ready, or vice versa, kind of a thing. And I kind of felt like a lot of that aligned all at once for me right around the same time in 2019, that it was really the community that shifted me and woke me up. I wouldn't even say it was 100% just all of a sudden, like, I chose to like turn the light bulb on. It was like certain soul family, or I don't know what you would call them necessarily, soulmates, came into my life and just kind of loved the shit out of me in a way that I had never experienced.
Wow.
Right? Through community. And it kind of cracked my heart open. I was very guarded, didn't know at the time that I just did not feel safe ever, which I think is a lot of people, and just really like started to chisel away a lot of who I wasn't through the help of this, amazing community of heart-centered people. Some of them are still here. Some of them are in Costa Rica now, but that was really the big first stage, I would say, of my awakening, was to really understand, the power of love through community. And it gave me such a positive reflection of like who I was through them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sounds like, correct me if I'm not all the way there, but was this like a supportive process? Because we all go through our different journeys, and some of us have like less support, but did yours feel a lot more supportive with that community?
It did. It felt supportive mostly. Sometimes it felt very confronting because they were very committed to like doing the work, we'll call it,
Mhm.
right? Um, acknowledging when we were in our shit or our shadow, and supporting each other and not supporting each other's highest and best versus enabling our dysfunction, which is usually what you see in all kinds of relationships, from friendships, family, partners. We were really committed to like helping each other get to the other side of our shit, and that was pretty powerful. And then from there, I mean, it was, a lot of self-driven activities and whatnot. It wasn't just the work through them, but that was definitely the catalyst. And then, and this happens quite a bit for people that are married or in a, serious partnership. When you go through an awakening, your partner doesn't always go through it with you. Yeah. And COVID hit, and so that whole process got delayed by a couple of years. I probably would have burned the blueprint faster had that timing hadn't gone down the way that it did. But everything happens perfectly, and honestly, like that time frame was actually quite abundant for us. I'm also in real estate. I've been a licensed realtor for the last 10 years, and so we were crazy busy. Nonetheless, the writing was on the wall. Once everything kind of went back to normal after COVID, the same issues were still there. And we had just kind of grown apart in a very big way spiritually and in some other ways as well. And even though I had made a ton of money and everything on paper looked amazing, like I had done all the things, right? I'm in my mid to late 30s. I make good money. I own a home. All the stuff that's supposed to make you happy. And I was kind of miserable in a lot of ways, in a way that I couldn't even understand. It was just like this pain. And it's very disorienting. It's very confusing to go through that. Yeah. I feel for people when they're going through that. I call it the midlife upgrade. Some people call it the midlife crisis. But I'm like, what you don't realize is actually an upgrade.
I love that you call it an upgrade. Yeah, powerful. So many people can relate to that, especially the disorientation, partnerships ending because the soul contract is expiring or the alignment is unraveling or whatever terms you want to use, the decoupling process. Sometimes it's necessary because I think that we, like you said, you called it perfect, or I think you said like everything was perfectly happening as it was supposed to. And if that resonates with you guys as you're listening to this, like try that perspective on for size, because it puts you more, kind of takes you out of the victim mindset, and then we can kind of just accept things. And yeah, I love that you're able to share that part of your story. And then also with your healing journey, losing 50 pounds, learning DJ, sound healing, how did all of that like play a role into where you are today? And did that help with some of the healing stuff that, the decoupling, or was that separate? How did that all work?
I separated from I call him my husband, by the way, because I don't like the energy of ex personally, so I call him my husband instead of my ex-husband. Daniel's his name. So we separated 3 years ago, and I would say that the DJing thing took a little bit of time to come in. I think I was just kind of trying to hold on for dear life as the blueprint was burned, So I had basically, for the first year, I'll be honest, I went into more of a codependent pattern and got with somebody way too soon, which is super common for people coming out of I came out of a 10-year relationship, and got through that, learned a ton from that. That's a whole nother episode. That's a whole nother podcast. But I would say after that relationship ended, that's when I decided, which was about 2 years ago, that I was going to take all that energy that I was putting towards other people and put it towards myself and what I wanted and what I needed. And I was just going to Phoenix out whatever that was going to look like. I was 180 pounds at the time, very unwell in many senses of the word. And just really felt in my heart of hearts, like, this is your shot. Like, this is your opportunity to like be in a relationship with yourself primarily and figure it out. What is it that I need? I'm just going to say it. Who the hell am I? Right? Like, this whole identity that I had burned up left me kind of with an empty canvas for the most part. And so I just started doing all the things I wanted to do, like going to DJ school.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I'm just going to do all the things because why not? I have the time. I have the focus. Real estate business was still really good. So I felt like, if there's ever a time to do it, I'm just going to do it all now. And so
Beautiful.
Literally like on myself, and the DJing thing like made such a difference in so many ways. I really recommend that for anybody watching right now that's going through a big shift, like what we're talking about, or even maybe, for some reason I'm compelled to mention the loss of a loved one or some kind of loss, period. To have something to focus on and to learn, and it's just for you, is so healing. It's so
beautiful. Why do you think self-image is tied to our energy, our spirituality, like our soul? Because I think some people don't recognize that, and they actually think the opposite. They think that, spirituality and being soulful and energetic is, some people have a belief or perspective that, you don't have to care about your appearance or whatever it is. So like, what are your thoughts on that? What does that mean to you?
Well, the first thing that comes up for me is that that's more so conditioning, There's even conditioning in the spiritual world, believe it or not, right?
Absolutely.
Stories, and a common one is that we there isn't a space for us to show up for ourselves aesthetically, which is silly to me because it's all kind of like the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And so when you show up for yourself, as physically included, and for me, losing 50 pounds over the past year, that's self-love, girl. Like,
yeah,
whether it's, getting a facial or getting a massage or trying out a makeup to see, experimenting with what you like, including aesthetically. We're art. Like, we're art in form, right? And we deserve it. And so a lot of it's also tied up into self-worth and feeling worthy enough for this part of the human experience. And the truth is, we're all goddesses. There's all kinds of divine goddesses and divine feminines and masculines around that just can't quite see themselves that way for one reason or another. Well, a great way to tap into that is to glow yourself up.
And with your clients, do you see that energetic shift? Like, obviously the physical shift is there, but do you see and feel that energy shift? And how can you describe that for us?
Well, first off, it's why I'm even doing it is that exchange in which I do a treatment for them with the microfocus ultrasound is the technology's name, and literally watch them glow, like transform in front of my eyes in like an hour of, sitting down with them and working on their skin. And like, I've cried like numerous times. A lot of the people that I work on, I know either through real estate or friends of friends and have some kind of connection. And I don't even need to have that, but like knowing their story and knowing like what it took for them, like I'm going to get teary right now, like what it took for them to get in that seat and say yes and to show up for themselves, and to just watch that glow back. That's why I do it.
Yes. I like your emotion too. Like, it teared me, or I don't know, it gave me chills because I could feel that. And I know people who have been in that state where they just self-sacrifice. Not that these are the people that you're talking about, but we all have friends and family and we all see each other's life experiences. Myself included, there was a time where I was just giving away all my time, all my energy, didn't take care of myself. And so doing little things like that, massages, skincare, facials, like that was a big step for me as well at one point. So let's dive more into it because I'm actually interested, and I thought I knew what this was, but what is micro-focused ultrasound? I'm not sure. Maybe I've had it, maybe I haven't. So like, what is it?
And everybody's always like, "What? Say that again?" So it's the treatment itself is called Ultherapy. It's been around for 13, 14 years now. It's the one and only FDA approved non-surgical non-surgical facelift, skin tightening, and skin rejuvenation, which is pretty incredible given the amount of different aesthetic technologies that are out there. This is the only one that's FDA approved. And the mechanism of it is kind of where that micro-focused ultrasound word came from. It's the procedure, it's a medical procedure done with an ultrasound machine. Same kind of thing that it looks the same as the same, like if you're going to get an ultrasound for a baby or they're trying to see something inside of you for some reason or another, looks pretty much identical, but the way that it works is quite different. The ones that you use for imaging and for scanning, it's kind of like an echo effect where the sound waves hit the thing and then it bounces back, creating an image. Versus what we have, there's actually a crystal inside of the handpiece that puts out the sound waves, and they're micro-focused, they're way stronger, and they're designed to hit specific layers, certain depths of your skin to create a micro-injury in which your skin and your body will create, it'll activate the healing mechanism, a healing reaction.
Okay. Wow,
Yeah.
that sounds brilliant. And I know it's non-invasive. How is this different from some of the other methods that people use to get similar results? How is this different?
Sure. So a lot of aesthetics work off the same principle, which is creating an injury to create a reaction. Lasers are going to do that. RF microneedling is going to do that. And a lot of them can create pretty amazing results, but a lot of the time it's going to create permanent damage, like scar tissue. And they aren't upfront about that when they give you the consultation. So even though you are getting results in the long term, you could actually a lot more times than not, you're actually creating damage for your skin. So it's all depending on how hot it gets. And a lot of times the training isn't always the best, we'll say, for a lot of these different methods. And so a lot of times people will get a lot of scar tissue underneath their skin and they don't even know it until like either they have an actual facelift or like for some reason or another they feel it in their skin later on. But the reason I bring that up is that's a huge difference between what we do. What our technology does is it's actually restoring and healing the skin from the inside out. It's not creating harm. It's literally healing your skin. So we go 3 different depths within the skin. The deepest layer of the dermis is where we go into basically where the muscle layers begin. We call it the fascia or the schmoz. And that's the deepest layer where we create the injury, and in turn that actually stimulates what we call fibroblasts, which is basically where your collagen is in your skin. And over time, your collagen means glue, I think, in Latin. And over time, your skin loses that collagen and it loses the glue, and that's when you start to see the sagginess and, the look of aging and wrinkles over the years. Well, at that depth, what we're doing when we send those microwaves to that deep part of the dermis, it's actually creating that healing response, and it basically just totally creates an insane amount of collagen and fibroblasts reconnecting together. We could really nerd out, like that's a whole nother like full episode of like how the mechanism of healing works. But that's just part of what it does. There's also 2 other levels that we do as well. The mid-level basically does a lot of the skin tightening, which is what you see the immediate results, because you see immediate results right afterwards, which you actually see the lift of the muscles. And then the lymphatic drainage as well. So a lot of that snatched jaw that you see in a lot of these treatments, we are like some of the best at being able to do that, because on the third, I guess you would say the most shallow level that we go with the sound wave actually cleans out all of the lymphatic system. So any kind of
Wow.
like fluid have, yeah, which is also a huge benefit to creating that micro injury. A lot of other methods don't actually clean out the lymphatic system, so we're kind of doing a twofer. We're actually creating that injury, but we're also cleaning out the lymphatic system at the same time. It's
Wow.
amazing. Like, it's the best technology, in my opinion, that has a lot of other uses.
So this is like, yes, it's self-care. Yes, it's, investing in your appearance and nourishing yourself and your skin. But it's also, it sounds like it's boosting circulation and it's detoxifying, because as soon as we start clearing out the lymphatic system, I'm not an expert, but I know enough to know that that's like boosting circulation and also offering like that detoxing process so that our lymphatic system throughout the rest of the body can, have that clear highway. So that is so interesting. And thank you for sharing how this is so different from other methods. And for me as a woman too, it's like I haven't had a lot of, I haven't had, much outside of a facial. I haven't had much. But I do know that I want that desire to just kind of like revitalize myself whenever I want. I haven't like thought about doing it, but I love this because this gives me the option. And I'm very careful. Like I don't do the toxins or like, anything invasive, because it's like at that point, I mean, yes, you guys, your intention for any type of self-improvement, I think matters. That's probably something that we haven't chatted yet about yet in this conversation, but I'm sure we'll include that somewhere. So yes, come to your self-care with the right intention, not for like validation, because then that creates a different thing. But I just love that this is a great option, and I just didn't know about it. So that is amazing. And I want to touch more on, really addressing this belief, the program of like beauty is like superficial, or some men think that we only do it for men, or that we only do it to get approval. And it's just like, I know we touched on it a little bit, how it's just like more of a self nourishing practice. But if there's anything else that you want to add to that, that'd be great.
It's undeniable when you put on your favorite outfit and you get your hair did and, put in that extra little effort to feel that extra little zhuzh. As I like the word zhuzh. I'm always getting zhuzhed up. You feel kind of unstoppable. Like you walk out that front door and your head is up high and you have the sauce, okay? That's what I like to call it, the sauce, and I feel like, man, that opens doors. You give yourself permission to express yourself in ways that are really powerful, not just for yourself, but others, and that's okay. Let's leave the shame at the door. Like let's show up for ourselves and do all the things for ourselves that we have always deserved, and maybe somewhere down the road decided that we didn't.
Yeah.
It's just part of the human experience too, to feel beautiful. And I'm not saying we have to put on the makeup to feel beautiful, but not one person on the show right now can deny that experience I just described.
Right. It's a real thing. It's a real thing, and it's important. And I'm curious, when you started your spiritual awakening journey, and you mentioned earlier, and I 100% agree with you. You said, I'm going to paraphrase, there's conditioning in the spiritual community as well. That I don't even know what to call it. But to me, it's kind of like a self-sacrifice. Like I don't have to pour energy into myself or like whatever it is. Were you aware of that as you were you were in community, you were integrating healing, increasing your self-awareness, or did that kind of happen over time throughout your journey?
Over time throughout my journey, I don't think that I was ever aware of it. Like it was an unspoken decision for people in the spiritual community to not want to, do vanity things or aesthetic things. I don't think it ever really, it was just never, maybe around money though, because I'm telling you, man, there's so many vows for poverty. I see, with artists and spiritual people and healers where I'm like, knock it off already, guys.
It's ridiculous.
Like we're the wave showers. We are doing important work and you deserve to be paid for your, to be compensated for the exchange.
Yeah.
I get super heated on that topic. So
yeah,
with this glowing, this transformation that I've had the last year or two, was really just self-love and form, right? And putting myself first and prioritizing myself. And I feel like I might kind of get on a soapbox, so take me down anytime. That it's more important now for us as the conscious community, the healers, the leaders, the way showers, start to really be taking responsibility for ourselves and being our advocate and being our own cheerleader. We're the ones we've been waiting for.
And that experience of the confidence and feeling unstoppable and everything that you were describing a few minutes ago, it's like that's the result. Like we could show up so much more as the way showers, so much more. I don't know who's listening today. If you're a psychic, if you're an energy healer, if you're a psychologist, or in real estate, I've done real estate too. So like whatever your mission is, and by the way, there's like this whole community of spiritual realtors emerging. I love that too, because they're bringing a whole different energy to it. I might go back to real estate just for that. But anyway, yeah, it's like that confidence that you were describing, that and yeah, being unstoppable and kind of like facing everything and rising, facing everything and shining instead of that shame or like, oh, I don't know if I could do this, or I'm not feeling like super confident or super comfortable. It just completely eliminates that, because that you are pouring time, energy, love, appreciation, affection, like health, revitalizing yourself. Like, that you are investing in you. And I just think it shows throughout the work that we're doing. So I love that. Thank you so much for tying in the self-worth and the self-love and all of that into our beauty care and our practices.
Absolutely. It's all connected. And, it's never too late. I'm always sharing that with everybody is, I didn't have my first aesthetic anything until I was 41.
Yeah.
Nothing. I was always putting everybody else first almost my entire life until the day I didn't. And I decided that it's my turn. I'm going to figure out how aesthetic things works. And it's hilarious because I'm really just like a hippie woo-woo tomboy underneath it. Like, I'm like, okay, well, I'm smart enough. I can figure it out. And I'm so glad that I did.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
And that's the energy that people like you and I are bringing to like the aesthetics and the beauty and like the upkeep and the glam, right? Like that's the word that we all use. So let's just use glam, glow, like whatever you want to use. But it's like underneath, it's just like, it's not that it's not that it's a mask when we have the intention that you and I are talking about. Yes, I know that people have different intentions, but it's more about just letting the authentic self shine and just embodying it all instead of denying, oh no, I don't want to do that aesthetic thing or makeup or hair, like all of this, because then that puts me in a box. It's like, create your own box, create your own brand. Like we're these avatars. I don't know if I think you said something close to avatar earlier. I think you said we're art. You said we're art, right? Yeah. And I love that. So good. And we have time. I didn't know if we were going to have time, but because you're also an abundance guide, and I know you started to talk about the whole money stuff earlier, which I completely already agree with you. But what do you think people need to kind of really bring to awareness around abundance, money? We're already talking about the beauty stuff, but what can we add to our awareness around this as well? And they do connect on some level.
Worthiness, right? There's so much of it tied with that. So, what I really want the audience to know and for you to know right now is that the energetics have shifted in such a way on this planet right now that there's way more available to us, way faster than it ever has been. Okay. So first of all, things don't have to be hard, anyways, but especially now, we don't have to work hard for the things we want to show up. And I don't need to explain the law of attraction. I'm sure everybody on this channel knows exactly what that is. Okay. We're not doing law of attraction 101. I'm bringing in some new information right now, which is there's a lot more magic, for lack of a better term, and things are just happening so much quicker now. And the sooner people get their vibration, and once they get in flow, is what I call it, and they get tapped into all their resources, which we have so much more, and I'm going to talk about that really quick too. It's all kind of the same part of the conversation. To keep ourselves at this higher vibration, we can have whatever we want, whenever we want, for ourselves and whoever else. And a lot of it's mindset. We have to let go that, we're not worthy. We have to let go of all kinds of negative programming to be able to align with that. And that's where it's like we have to step in and start really doing the work for ourselves and being the person we've been waiting for this whole time to get ourselves into that frequency, because there's a whole new game being played right now. We have shifted. Call it 5D, 4D, whatever you want to describe it as. But we are in a new matrix, whether we recognize it or not. And that means there's new rules. So the sooner we can get ourselves in this higher vibration, and like I said, get plugged into our resources, specifically our angels, our spiritual crew, a better, clearer conversation with our higher selves, we'll be able to supernova the SHIT out of this planet together and ascend it in a way that we didn't even know was possible on a way faster timeline. And that's why people like you and I are showing up right now to help people, dust them off, get them back up, help get them plugged back in and give them the resources they need to be the shining stars that they have always been meant to be here.
Yes. Thank you for that. That higher vibration. It's just so important to like really recognize that and embody it, right? And to do the things that allow us to access.
First. Be first, do second. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like my whole, like, you have to make sure to say this right now. So I didn't mean to interrupt so rudely, but to be the thing first and then do the thing.
And I was going to add that we have it already within us, but there's a way, this is my perspective, obviously, but when we're not aware of it, it's like we don't really feel like we could access it. But as soon as we have the awareness, then the access is like opening up, right? So I love that. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. I'm going to ask you to do like maybe like a takeaway if you want to leave us with a quote or a final thought or message. But before I hand the mic to you for that, I just want to let you guys know that please connect with her. We have her links here in the show notes, her Instagram pages for healing, music, and her Facebook page is here as well. So if this episode and this conversation really resonated with you, I feel like every woman should have a skincare person on call that also shares their same beliefs around self-awareness and self-care and healing and spirituality and consciousness. So please visit her links in the show notes. And then back to you, any other final thoughts or anything that you want to leave us with?
Soundwavebeauty.com.
I want to repeat it, soundwavebeauty.com. Awesome.
Consultation to learn more about our customized treatment plans, answer any questions you guys might have, or go ahead and book a treatment in Austin, Texas, at least. I'm sure people are listening all over the place. And then second of all, I'm hearing this so loud and clear right now. It's like almost making me want to laugh. You're the person you've been waiting for. It's you. It's you. Who'd have thought? You're the one.
It's powerful. It's so simple, but it's but it's powerful. I love that. I love that. So good. So yeah, I'll be in Austin in 2 weeks. I might be hitting you up for a treatment. I feel like that would be fun. Yeah. I miss Austin. I used to live there. So good stuff. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, your wisdom. Really do appreciate it. And I'm sure we'll talk again pretty soon. Namaste, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.